We're limping to the finish line here, okay? Now, in chapter 22, so Mr. Brown, as long as he was with us, he's left us, and now we have his replacement, Reverend James Smith. And this guy is like mega church on TV, fire and brimstone kind of guy. He's not afraid of conflict. He's not really worried about keeping the peace. Like, that's not his main priority, okay? I would qualify him as an extreme religious leader, okay? Maybe I can go one side at a time. It's just the bottom gets a little blurry. So he is an extreme religious leader, and he's really not happy with the flock that Mr. Brown curated, okay? He says that they are seeds planted in a rocky soil. So he's like, we want quality over quantity, okay? The rocky soil is Mr. Brown's like teaching of the religion, and the seeds are the people that have converted. They need to understand all the layers and all of the details about this religion, and we got to fix it, okay? He was like letting things slide. So, a word that you need to know, clamoring, okay, to clamor, and folly. All right. Mr. Smith, rules by punishments and consequence, okay? He was filled with wrath when he hears of different things that people are doing. Everything is very black and white to him, okay? He is openly condemned Mr. Brown's policy of compromise and accommodation, all right? A word to know, overzealous, okay? So, it says there was a saying that a man danced so the drums were beaten for him. The overzealous converts who had smarted under Mr. Brown's restraining hand now flourished in full favor, okay? So, you have this guy, and his name is Enoch, and he's going to start all the drama, okay, that happens. He bothers me because I could just picture the kind of person that he is, like that one person in class that never shuts up, that's like really mature, that's taunting you, that's bothering you, like, oh, what'd you get in chemistry? Oh, I got higher than you, I told you it was this answer, like, the one that you're just like, oh, I want you to be quiet. And it doesn't bother him at all. So he is overzealous, okay? He's short, fits, okay? He always seems in great haste. He's running around, bouncing around everywhere, excessive energy, and he doesn't really care, right? It says if he happened to sit near someone, he would occasionally turn to give them a meaningful look as if to say, I told you so. It was Enoch who touched off the great conflict between the church and the clan in Emophia, which had been gathering since Mr. Brown left. So, since Mr. Smith has arrived, tensions have been rising, okay? And Enoch's going to set everything over the edge.
Is Enoch an African?
Yes. Well, he's one that's been converted.
Okay, so Enoch is his new Christian name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know his actual name.
Well, not everybody changes their name. So, Noe did, but that's probably his name from before, okay? So we find out, like, these two sides are still coexisting, right, in the same space. They're getting water from the same streams. They're walking on the same paths. The Egwugu is still alive and administering justice because that's their purpose, right? So they're still existing among the people that have converted and at the church and all this kind of stuff. So, it tells us one of the greatest crimes a man could commit was to unmask an Egwugu in public, or to say anything which might reduce itself to immortal prestige in the eyes of the uninitiated, and that's what Enoch did. Okay? So, one of the greatest crimes is to destroy or desecrate this religious symbol that they have, right? These ladies need to, like, I don't know, cross the path or something, and the Igwugwu are running around, and they let the women pass, and Enoch just sticks his nose where it doesn't belong. He's taunting everyone. It says the women are trying to pass, they agreed, and they were already retiring when Enoch boasted aloud that they would not dare touch a Christian. Whereupon, when all of the Igwugwu come back, they, like, walk around with these canes, and they just, like, they, like, bop him on the head with their canes, right? Like, shut up, okay? And it says, each one of them gave Enoch a good stroke of the cane, which was always carried. Enoch fell on him and tore off his mask. Okay? So this sends everyone into a frenzy. He's desecrated. Desecrated is the word to know. A sacred religious symbol for them, much like killing the python. And it's a major crime, right? So the Igwugwu are entities of the ancestors. It's tied to their spirituality. And so this is something that they are mourning. This is something that's never happened before. So it says, not even the oldest man in Umuofia had ever heard such a strange and fearful sound. The mother of spirits weeping for her murdered son. It seems as if the very soul of the tribe wept for a great evil that was coming. Its own death. Okay? So, this kind of sets everything off. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, what do we do? This is a big deal. Okay? Mr. Smith's freaked out because he hears the crying and the wailing at night, and he's afraid. He's like, I mean, this is bad. Like, we've done something bad. What do we do? Okay? And all of the Christian leaders get together, and Mr. Smith is like, well, whatever we do, we can't fight them. We can't put up physical resistance because at this time, the district commissioner and all of his men are, like, traveling somewhere. They're not in the village. Okay? So we don't have the numbers. We don't have the people. Like, we can't put him in prison, restrain them because he's not here. So they're like, okay, we're going to hide Enoch in the church. We're going to hide him for a few days. He's going to lay low. Everything's going to be fine. And it's going to work. Whatever. Okay? So the Igwugwu meet. They decide what they're going to do, and they're on their way to administer their justice because that's what they do. Right? They're going towards the church. It's a fury with tumultuous, okay? And they get to the church. And you have some insight here. Mr. Smith's interpreter, okay, was like, we don't need to hide Enoch. We need to give him to the Igwugwu. Like, we don't need to hide him. Like, that's not good. What he did is bad. Like, this is not going to be good. So he advises Mr. Smith, I don't think that we should hide him here. Okay, it's going to bring something bad here. And Mr. Smith's like, what do you know? Okay. Well, the Igwugwu show up, and he's interpreting between the two sides. So, if you remember, in part 2, or maybe part 1, I guess, we had the whole chapter about the Igwugwu, right? There's both sides. There was Mgbafo and her husband, and the brothers came and they had court, okay? The language is the same, right? They opened it up with, the body of whoever, I salute you, okay? So they are here in their official capacity to administer justice, all right? Because a crime has been committed. So the leader of the Igwugwu, this is what they have to say. He says, tell the white man that we will not do him any harm. Tell him to go back to his house and leave us alone. We liked his brother who was with us before, Mr. Brown. He was foolish, but we liked him. And for his sake, because we liked him, we won't harm you. But this shrine which he built must be destroyed. And what are they talking about when they say shrine? the church, okay? We shall no longer allow it in our midst. It has bred untold abominations, and we have come to put an end to it. Father Sebumophi, I salute you. You can stay with us if you like in our ways. You can worship your own God, okay? So they're not like banishing them or exiling them. They're like, you can stay here, but this cannot. This is your fine. This is the price that you must pay, okay? It is good that a man should worship the gods and the spirits of his fathers. Go back to your house so that we may not hurt you. Our anger is great, but we have held it down so that we can talk to you. Okay? So, they are, they're telling him they're administering justice. This is what they have to do. Okay? So, they burn the church. Alright? And they burn it to the ground. So, the clan... Enoch destroyed a religious symbol of the Igbo. The Igbo then go and destroy a religious symbol of the Christians. Okay? That's how they administer justice in this sense. They're still trying. They're not trying to cause any conflict. You can stay with us. You can worship your own God, whatever. But this is just what must be done. But the problem with this is that they are overestimating the power to administer said justice that they used to have. Okay? That power is not the same. Not everybody follows by the same constructs and beliefs anymore, and they're underestimating the Christians' willingness to just accept this. Oh, sure, burn it, great. We'll get started on clearing some area to build a new one. Not going to be the case. Okay. Not the end of this. Okay? And we see that in the next chapter. Right? Last chapter. Okay. So, we find out kind of about what that meeting was about that they had, I guess that the Igbo had, where they decide, so Okonkwo's feeling happy, and this is that other statement that I was talking about. When Okonkwo said his chi had made amends, right? It says, the clan which had turned false on him appeared to be making amends. Which is weird. And very Okonkwo. He sees the clan's collective loss of respect for everything he stands for, power and strength, as almost like a personal attack. In Coach Cop the reader's opinion. I said, she making amends with him, clan making amends with him, who should be doing the amending? Okay. So, Okonkwo, we find out, is happy because he's the one after Enoch takes off the mask that he's like, we're not going to take this, right? He spoke violently to his clansmen, and they had listened to him with respect. It was like the good old days again when a warrior was a warrior. They had agreed to do something substantial. We can't just talk about it. We can't just say, hey, it's really bad that you did this. We have to do something substantial, like burn down their church. And they had done it. Okonkwo was almost happy again. So, of course, that makes him happy. I'm being, Coach Cobb the reader is being ugly about Okonkwo. So, they're like, okay, it's here, whatever, we've done nothing else is going to happen. But the district commissioner comes back, and he's not cool. So, he sends his people to Okonkwo and the other guys. There's 6 men of authority left. And he's like, oh, come on to the courthouse, I just want to talk. Right? And Okonkwo was like, oh, we need to bring our machetes. We need to be fully prepared. Whatever. So they go. Shouldn't have gone. Right? Bad decision. Especially to meet at the courthouse, which is attached to the prison. Let's meet at the stream. Let's meet in my obi. Whatever. Going into the lion's den. Okay? So the district commissioner's like placating them at the beginning. He's like, oh, I've been told some things that happened. Okay? Not like I just walked past a huge pile of smoldering ash that used to be my church, but I've heard about some things that have happened, and I want to hear your side of it. Let's talk like friends, and we can find a way to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And they're like, okay. And the commissioner's like, but wait, I want my guys to hear this, okay, so that they can understand how not to make this happen again. You know, James, bring them in. So all the guys come in and they capture them. They imprison them. All right? Happened so quickly that the 6 men did not see it coming. There was only a brief scuffle, too brief to even allow the drawing of a sheathed machete. 6 men were handcuffed and led to the guardroom. Okay? So, the district commissioner says, if you agree to cooperate with us, I'm not going to harm you. We've brought a peaceful administration to you and your people so that you may be happy. Okay, look, I'm replacing everything that you've known in your entire culture so that you will be happy. Okay, if any man ill-treats you, we shall come to your rescue, but we will not allow you to ill-treat others. We have a court of law where we judge cases and administer justice as it is done in my country. I brought you here because you joined together to burn people's houses in their place of worship. That must not happen in the dominion of our queen. Okay, so in our area, the most powerful ruler in the world. I've decided that you'll pay a fine of 200 bags of cowries. You'll be released as soon as you agree to this, and you get that fine from your people. What do you say to that? Okay, so there it is. They're silent. They take them and they take them to prison. Okay, and it doesn't go well. Okay, they shave their heads. All right, they take the prisoners. They shave their heads, and it's not just like they're. Yeah, it's not like they're, I don't know, doing anything, like giving them a haircut, okay? It is a demoralizing, it is a dehumanizing experience, and everything that we know about Igbo culture, I would assume that the hair is an incredible part of their cultural identity, right? And that's embedded into, you know, their traditions and their way of life. So it's a way of, you know, just tearing them down. It's shameful. Okay, it's very cruel. That's the word that I'm looking for. So they don't treat them well. They don't give them anything to eat. They don't give them water. They don't let them go to the bathroom. And they taunt them and they beat them. Okay? The guys, you know, stay strong as long as they can, but they think about, you know, giving in at some point. So you have this abuse of power happening, right? And, I mean, the language barrier probably plays a part in some things, but you have these guys that meant nothing in their original cultures. They're at the bottom of the totem pole, and now they have all the power, right? Probably corrupts them a little bit. So the messengers go, and they tell their people, your men are not going to be released until you give us not 200, like the district commissioner said, but 250 bags of cowries, and unless you pay it, we're going to take them and we're going to hang them. So you better pay it. Okay? There's evidence of corruption here. Now, I'll just go ahead and tell you there will be a question on your quiz having to do with something right here in the middle of this page. Okay? And what you need to do here is look at the way that the village of Umofi is being described. Okay? In part 1, everything was described to the finest detail. It's a very lively place. Mothers telling stories to their children, and they're preparing for feasts, and they're cooking, and they're playing, and they're wrestling, and they're having celebrations and feasts and wrestling, whatever. It's a clear contrast to what is happening now. Everything around them has changed. Okay? So, Azenma hears she's staying with her future husband before they get married. She comes back because she hears about Okonkwo. And it says, the men of Umofia met in the marketplace and decided to collect without delay 250 bags of cowries to appease the white man. They did not know that 50 bags would go to the court messengers who had increased the fine for that purpose. Okay? So there's evidence of corruption in this system. Alright? It leaves power in hands of other people. The chain of power kind of passes along. Leaves the door open for self-interest and corruption. Okay? A lot going on. So, I'm going to talk to you, we have 2 chapters left. I'm going to talk to you about the first 2 pages of the next chapter, and that's where we'll stop, okay? Before everything really gets crazy. So, they pay the fine, we know, alright? The district commissioner lectures them, you know, like, our queen is so great, and our government is so great and peaceful. Remember that, you know, the next time that you think about doing something like that, whatever. So they're released, and they go home, and they're silent. They don't speak to anybody. They pass people on the way back to their village. The men wore such heavy and fearsome looks. They walked silently. The village was astir in a silent, suppressed way. So, on their travels home, remember, they look completely different. Their heads have been shaved, okay? We learned that Okonkwo has these, like, very deep, severe cuts in his back. They've been beaten, so they probably look terrible. And they're not talking. They're not saying anything about what's happened. So their silence here is, you know, symbolizing their shame, not only at the way that they were treated, but the way that they were treated, they couldn't even defend themselves, right? There's no time, or they didn't have the ability to defend themselves. So they probably feel a sense of shame about that happened to them, right? The loss of their own power. They couldn't even defend themselves. So Okonkwo eats. He eats absent-mindedly. He had no appetite. Nobody else spoke, but they noticed the long stripes on Okonkwo's back where the warder's whip had cut into his flesh. Okay? So after this happens and the men are returned, things are, you know, past the point of no return. There's no way that this can continue. Everything's going to kind of come to a head here. The Umofians know they have to do something. So there's a signal. They're going to have a meeting in the morning, and Okonkwo knows what that means. He's like a kid on Christmas. He's giddy with excitement at the possibility to go to war, right? He was not afraid of blood. And 2 quotes that I continue to remember in this chapter and the next one are from part 1, when it says Okonkwo is a man of action, right? It makes him excited because that's who he is. Okonkwo is a man of action, and whenever he couldn't get his words out quick enough, he uses his fists, right? Okay, part 1. And he can't get his words out quick enough because of what? He has a stutter. Okay? So, he knows that they're going to meet. Okonkwo's excited, sleeps very little, childlike excitement. He got down his war dress, and he's ready to go. Okay? But we know that he is going to go on a mission for vengeance, regardless of if everyone agrees. Okay? it says he swore vengeance. If Umuofia decided on war, all would be well. But if they chose to be cowards, he would go out and avenge himself. This will not be done to me. I will not stand for it. Okay? So, it's the last page we'll talk about. He's disgusted and ashamed of what his clan has been reduced to, right? Worthy men are no more. I think, and I remember the days where we used to go to war and we killed all these people, la la la. Those were the days when men were men. Very Okonkwo. Okay? He turned, he's tossing and turning, he turned on his bed and his back hurt him, and he ground his teeth. So, in my Coach Bob the Reader's perspective, this injury that he has on his back probably plays a very interesting role here throughout the night in amping him up and making him more angry and excited, right? Because each time he tosses and turns in bed, his back is hurting him, and those cuts and that injury on his back is like a badge of defeat, a badge of weakness, right? He was injured by the opposition, and that makes him angry, okay? And then he starts to think about the new leader in Umuofia, and that's his biggest obstacle, okay? Because this guy, he persuades people not to go to war. That's what he means when he says his sweet tongue can change fire into cold ash. If they had ignored his womanish wisdom 5 years ago, we would not have come to this, okay? But Okonkwo says, tomorrow he will tell them that our fathers never fought a war of blame. If they listen to him, I shall leave them and plan my own revenge. Okay? Everyone else may be weak. I might not fit in here anymore, but I'm going to get mine. I'll turn my back on them. Okay? And he does. And he ruins everything. So, there's that. That's where we will stop. I am exhausted. Alright, that's it. We'll talk about the rest next time. You guys have about 10 minutes